A bag of cement in late 1990s used to be sold at 3,500 CFA. Within the early 2000s, the bag of cement moved to 4,000 francs CFA, and by 2012, it was sold at 4,500 francs. By 2013, it moved to 5,000 francs CFA. By 2016-2017, we're counting 5,500 francs CFA. As we speak right now in 2021-2022, the bag of cement has moved tremendously from 6,500 francs to 7,000 francs CFA, and in some localities like in Bamenda and in Boya, it is being sold at 8,000 francs CFA, a sharp increase as of when it was being sold out of 4,000 francs CFA. Today, the common man can no longer boast of constructing a house that can be of beneficial to his or her family. And it is not just a bag of cement. If we move down to the prices of basic commodity, balanced and unbalanced kilogram of meat used to be sold, balanced kilogram of meat used to be sold at 2,000 francs CFA. Unbalanced kilo used to be sold at 1,000 francs CFA, 1,500 francs CFA. It moved to 2,000 francs CFA for unbalanced and 3,000 francs CFA for a balanced scale. Today, we are talking about 3,000 francs CFA for a balanced scale and 2,500 francs CFA for an unbalanced scale. And same with the situation with a bag of flour. In all of this, should we also blame the Russian-Ukraine war as far as this is concerned? When we move to wheat or a bag of flour or rice, a lot of pundits and economic pundits from the government perspective blamed it on the Russian-Ukraine conflict, that it is because of that we have an increase in the prices of flour, a bag of flour. But now cement is being produced in Cameroon. Resources of cement are being produced in Cameroon. What is causing the price of a bag of cement to move from 6,000 francs CFA to 7,000 francs CFA and sometimes 8,000 francs CFA? Should we blame it on the Russian-Ukraine conflict of which these things are produced in Cameroon? This is House of Commons. We meet Tah Mai Jarvis. Cameroon's Ministry of Finance, Louis Paul Motaze, in 2021, February 25th, during an annual conference of external service heads and decentralized unit at the Ministry of Finance, said the nation's aim to cut down its public debt to 50% of the gross domestic product, which increased slightly as of 2020 and of 2021. Today, we are witnessing that the public debt is still at a standstill and with the possibility of increasing, though Cameroon is a bit better than some of its neighbors like the Democratic Republic of Congo, which public debt stands at 90% and also 65% in Gabon, which some pundits are putting it at 75%. With the increasement of prices on commodities, what should be done and who should we blame? Here in the studio we have senior barrister Ashu Emmanuel. He is the president of the Cameroon's Reform Party, and also barrister at law and someone that has been very vocal as far as things are concerned in Cameroon. And to him, he believes that things must be done objectively, genuinely, for the good of the common man and not for the good of the privileged few. Senior barrister Ashu, you're welcome and a happy Sunday to you.
Happy Sunday to you.
Seseko barrister.
Happy Sunday to you, Tah Mai Jarvis. Happy Sunday to my fellow co-panelists. Happy Sunday to my good audience that I've missed for a whole month due to the Ramadan. It's over now. You're welcome back. You were talking about the problems that the wahala that the Cameroonian people are facing due to price hikes. You forgot the iron rods. Iron rods, we have them. They are made here. iron rods and zinc don't come from Ukraine, don't come from Russia. Now, you see, we should face the facts. Sometime about 20 years ago, our president was heard to say that we shall never go to IMF. A few months later, we were right there, pounding on the doors of the IMF. Today, things are being done silently. Nobody is talking about it, but some fellow, one economist, Dieudonné Somba, came out and said the IMF has come to collect its money, and if that money is not there, they have decided to just put their hands on the budget. Well, if that is true, then we can understand what is happening. Because if what this gentleman is saying is correct, then we imagine that the state has to look for alternative means of survival. And I will understand that a bag of cement that is produced in Douala here by 2 local companies should experience a 100% increase, because not later than March this very year, a bag of cement costed 4,500. But 2 months later, we're talking of 7,500.
So Bamenda is 8,000.
So the problem is a simple one. The state has to survive without the budget. So it's an old technique that we know. They simply just knock at the doors of these companies and say, please give us so much. And you transfer the incidents on the consumers. So that's a simple thing. I think that's just what is happening.
Okay.
Because you cannot say it is Ukraine. Ukraine has nothing to do with the production of iron rods, production of cement, production of even things that are coming from the farm.
Okay.
Well, we are soon going to experience an increase in the price of beer and all the others, because when they come pounding on the door, you will get the increase in price. So I think that is just a simple thing. The state has to survive and needs money.
Okay.
You remember there was this mobile money tax?
Yes.
So from that time you could see.
But it's like the mobile money tax has been removed there, because even the transaction these days, I don't longer see it there for my transaction. My normal cost, it has moved to 50 francs as opposed to the normal transaction that I used to have.
No, it is 2% of the amount you are transferring.
Yeah, it was from the 2% I used to transfer 1,000 francs for 50. Now, when they increased that 2%, it was 70 francs. But after a while, I started doing my transaction, it's back to 50.
No, sir. I collected money from what they call Express Union last week. And the 2% was officially removed. So I don't know what you're talking about. They collected the money up front before giving me the money that was sent to me from outside. So
okay.
So I don't think it has been.
We'll be coming back to you for the detailed program, Senior Barrister. Also here in the studio, we have Dr. Michael Dimancho. He is a lecturer in some universities across the nation and very observant as far as the economic, political issues of Cameroon is concerned, and very objective in his analysis and ensure that things must be done the right way. Dr. Michael Dimancho, you are always of the opinion that nobody's above and nobody's below the law. Happy Sunday.
Of course, as you have mentioned the issue of Sunday, all Christians are equal, and all followers of Christ hope to be like Christ, at least in terms of the Christianity, in terms of practice, and in terms of the morals of the society, in terms of governance. And of course, when we talk about governance, we are entering into the topic of our day, where we realize that many people are creating unnecessary problems for us in Cameroon. Because we talk about the issue of price hikes, and I see a lot of human hands in the issue of price hikes. You know, we are forgetting the issue of corruption in Cameroon. Let me tell you, when Ahijo left this country in 1982, he was on the opinion that Cameroon can go for the next 10 years without ever thinking about going to the IMF whatsoever to borrow anything, because the economy was stable. The 2 decades that preceded, after the independence, we had a kind of a stable economy that people who lived during that period keep on being reminiscent of that period. They keep on looking back in regret. I mean, they wish for those good days whereby the economy was almost stable, you know. Yes, people will argue that the price, cocoa, which we were producing, coffee and oil and all those things, they were having a very stable price in a world market, and that when prices actually dropped, we started having problems. But that is not essentially the thing, because you realize that today there have been a lot of mismanagement in our resources, and therefore I most often like to think about the human hand in all of these things that are happening. Barrister talked about the issue of local production. Because if you want to think about the prices on the world market, what about the things that we produce locally? Do we still have to compare them with the prices at the world market? We won't. So I think that we are kind of looking at, catching a kind of reasons in order to satisfy. Look at the kind of corruption that, we know that we are going to enter this kind of stage. And look at the COVID money, the way it was mismanaged. Did we know that we are entering a period like this, that we are going to be in this kind of a mire, where we are looking at escape is very chimerical for us? People are put in positions to govern, and you realize that we have reached at a stage whereby that issue of capitalism has eaten deep in our own Cameroonian society. Let me not even call it African society, because you feel that you live in a society where individuals are extremely rich. Extremely rich, surrounded by extremely poor people. Look, and let's look at locally. I don't want us to go into statistics or whatsoever. Just look at the society in which we live, and then you understand where we have plunged ourselves into. You have people who are living, who make honey in extreme riches, and then it appears as if the riches of Cameroon have been concentrated within some few people. You are appointed in posts of position, and all you have to do is you amass wealth for yourself and for your family. And that's why you will not be surprised to hear that somebody has embezzled a sum of 50 billion francs. And I still say that this thing is an issue of governance, because we have been heard of people who have been accused in Cameroon of having embezzled a lot of money, but we have not had how much money was recovered. And this is where the problem is. We are crying, and perhaps that borrowing is a problem now. The IMF was. Why can't we go back to those people we say that they have embezzled? And of course, and they have established a report of the fact that they have embezzled. We are not able to go to them to say this money that you have embezzled, losing this money. I remember there was one time, some few years back, there was one minister who was sent out of the country as actually a conquistador, to go and verify the accounts of people abroad. And the minister brought in a very long list of money that has been embezzled in banks abroad. And we have been waiting to hear. It is about 7, 8, 9, 10 years now. We have been waiting to hear where this money has gone to. And I'm telling you, the money that the few individuals have embezzled, it is all to outside the annual budget of Cameroon. And we are asking ourselves, but what is happening?
Add to that of Ontonto.
In Cameroon. And they call some figures of money that sometimes I sit and I close my eyes and I ask, is this money real? But of course, the figure is coming from the government minister, from those who are doing the auditing. Because if it was coming from some of us, the civil society, they will say, you would like to put, actually,
it's coming from an official source.
It's coming from official source,
which must have had some.
Of course, and even with that official source, sometimes they have had some kind of fixing before that sum is even released. So I think that we need to be realistic in this thing, and that we see that the problem of Cameroon is not a problem that we really have to face outside or look outside for solutions. We are supposed to look ourselves back here in Cameroon. Now we talk about the issues of corona, because one reason that people advance is that during coronavirus the business was low, and now that the importation of things that the shipping companies are charging high of importation because of the effects of coronavirus. But is that a reason? It is no reason at all. It is no reason. Because, I think that locally produced things are not supposed to undergo transportation of things out of the country before they come back to Cameroon.
Except they are telling us that you produce cement in Cameroon, you check back and you import.
Exactly. Maybe you say, is it like the French CFA where we have our reserves in the French banks? I think that these are goods that we are supposed to consume locally. When we had Semencam, that was the only cement country in Cameroon. People, we cried and cried. Even though the civil society, we went on hilltops and rooftops to cry and said we needed a second one, because when there is competition, we know that prices will be reduced. To my greatest chagrin, we had the second company, Dangote. And it appears as if that second company came as an ill-omen to the first, whereby prices have been skyrocketed. When we had Mobilis, MTN in Cameroon, that they came, we said, oh my God, you used to make a call for 250 francs. And even when you just beat somebody and he cut you, I mean, you pay the 250 francs. Now we said, can we not have the second company? Now Orange came, and we thought we were going to have better days. Now the days are still untold to us. Now we have had mistakes, and now it appears as if the more the companies come, and containers are come, the more the companies come, the more the consumers, the prices skyrocket. Are we real? Politicians, are we real? Can we rise up to this thing?
Are you talking to senior barrister?
No, all the politicians in Cameroon, senior barrister is one. We are opportunity, the senior barrister is here. I think that, you know, one of the things that happen in some countries is that the politicians actually hang on these things in order to topple the government. And if the politicians in Cameroon do not succeed this time around with this price out to top, to fight, for the goods of the local person, because it's indeed they will have a lot of popularity here. Any political party that comes up now and is talking against these things and letting the people know that he's fighting for them, is going to be very popular. Are you mindful of public disorder article that in Cameroon? No, public disorder doesn't mean that when you decry this thing doesn't mean that you go breaking till you go marching. Okay. That is, I think we need to be Republican.
Thank you very much. Also, Innocent Barazil, happy Sunday. We are talking about the government is aiming for an adjustment from what Louis Paul Mutazi said in February, that we're aiming at reducing the debt as of 50% of gross domestic product. But when we see consumers' goods that are produced in Cameroon are instead more expensive, as though many said when flour, the prices of wheat it came into being, many said it's because of Russia-Ukraine war, because Russia and Ukraine are the highest producer of wheat flour. But now, cement, rot, as Senior Barrister put it, is very high.
Yes, before I come to that, when I talk of national debt increasing or remaining static very high, we should not blame our government for borrowing. But we should rather blame them for borrowing and using it for the wrong purpose. Because even America is owing too much debt. But you see the infrastructure, you see what they do with the money. But in Cameroon, they embezzle, they borrow and embezzle. You see as if they are borrowing and sharing. And when you borrow, you don't put into productive activity, which will be something that will be able to, I will be able to generate back the money for you to pay the debt. You will always remain in debt. And that's why they even got this in heavily indebted poor countries.
A peak.
A peak. Of which Cameroon was one of them.
I think that was in 2007.
Yeah, 2004,
yes.
2005.
2005.
Yes.
Yeah, because we borrow and eat. Our government borrow and use among themselves and their families.
No, but you cannot say we borrow and eat, and you cannot say our government borrow and use among your families, where the government tells you that Long Panga, Nanga Boko Dam and the Labdo Dam, all these are being, these budgets are being used into. Also, the laptops, also budgets are being used, and we are still waiting for the second phase of the laptop, because we're told the first phase is coming, had come, and the second phase we don't know when. But the government is stating that they are using this money to construct roads, bridges, provide social amenities to the public, fight against COVID-19 cholera. And you said they are using money.
But the reason is that when you talk about, I wonder, because all of us we are in this country. These roads that are constructed, are they actually roads? You cannot construct a road that will not last for 2 years, and you say you construct a road. And bridges we are talking about, Long Panga, which are talking, they go and construct even a seaport in Limbe, a deep seaport in Limbe. Now, you construct a deep seaport in Limbe, which Limbe is, Kribi. Which Kribi is deep far inside. Most people don't like to even use it. So it's because that the much money that has been spent to construct it now is waste. But of which there is a deep seaport in Limbe, which I can go there and even ensure that the construction will be even cheaper. And many people would like to use it. Because every businessman goes to where the source of market, availability of market. Because the Southwest and Littoral are almost close, which make up about more than 30% of the Cameroon population. Which if your things land in Limbe, it's easy for you to transport it in Douala, where there is a market about 5 million people, although they will tell you that the population is about 3 million or 2.something million because of politics. Which is that, but now they don't do that. They borrow the money and eat. Look, your fact is that the government, they are just fooling us. There's a government just fool us. And now talking of cement of producing locally. The fact is that even our business people are very unscrupulous. Yes, all of them, because wait, let me. What do they produce cement with? To start with senka. Senka, the raw material is senka. Now, what do they produce with raw material? They use limestone to produce it, that raw material, and clay. Cameroon has more than, just a few statistics I had, only the stock has 14,580,000,000 tons of limestone. Then you need 1.5 million to 1.6 million tons of limestone to produce a ton of cinder, which you can use to produce cement. But now, they don't produce in Cameroon, they are imported. Yes, they import it in Cameroon. Yes, just last year, Cameroon import 3 billion. That means they used 3 billion francs CFA to import cinder from Congo, a neighboring country, one of the countries in Central Africa, to import it. Now, why? It's because the government does not want to liberate the mining sector. Because if the government liberate the mining sector, you will discover that they can mine this thing, because somebody like Dangote, that I know that if the mining sector was liberated, or was liberalized, rather, not liberalized, Dangote would have a mining company in Cameroon. But the government decided they should import the raw materials, and price of cement will be too high. And you also discover that when the price of cement, when the price of cement increased in the world market, cement can increase its price by 1,300 francs. So I don't actually know how they used to supply cement. I can say at least they used to supply it back to retailers around 4,000. Now, if they increase it by 1,300, it means that they will sell it to retailers for 5,300. What Dangote did was that Dangote now tried to come out with a new brand of cement, Dangote Falcon. I'm sure some of us will knew about that cement, which now the price now was 4,300. So that at least it will reduce the use of the senga that they are using to produce the cement. Okay, now you look at it and you realize that one man, I used to say, they don't like us because cement camp is owned by foreigners. Dangote is owned.
No,
Cameroon government has shares.
Cameroon government has.
But how shares? But the money people are foreigners.
No, it's a government. It's a government.
Government has.
It's a government company.
Okay, well, that means if the government has 35%, means that the government is the one killing us. Yes, means that the government is the one killing us. Because if you look at a foreigner who comes to our country, he knows how poor people Cameroonians are. Then he knows that meaning that even cement camp itself, the government is not even encourage us the youth to even build houses, because if cement camp increase its price by 1,300 to 5,300, then Dangote instead try to produce cement that will still have almost the same quality, and they can use it to still construct even bridges and houses. Then it means that a foreigner has us in his mind more than the government.
Okay. Thank you very much for your analysis. Hello, Mr. Jarvis. Happy Sunday. Thank you for a great job. Please, I am really disappointed not only in cement, but zinc is also a problem in Cameroon. Please try to ask your panelists what is the problem of zinc high prices. Okay, this other one will say greetings to you in the studio. I think what is happening in Cameroon, it is our fault, because every day we talk and give proposals and the government is giving us back ears to save this Cameroon. We have only one solution, just thank you very much. Your message is gotten. Of course, we have just one solution, as you said, that which I know you have it in your mind.
Out of office.
Yeah, but please, when you're sending us your message, be a bit Republican. Our authorities are not serious. They care less about the common citizens. All they care about is how to embezzle taxpayers' money. The present regime in Cameroon cannot move the country forward. It's coming from Edwin in Banjom. Edwin in Banjom, please don't call us, text us, send us your message. Senior barrister, as of March 2022, Cameroon's budget, Cameroon is owing the IMF close to 10,424 billion francs CFA as of March 2022.
Yes, Mr. Jarvis, as I was saying earlier, the state has to survive. IMF has come to collect its money, and we have to to survive while paying them. So I think we should support our government in these hard times and stop castigating them, because no, it's normal. You see, we should face the facts. The bailiff has come to take his money. They've given us money and they've come to collect their money. So the government has to do all it can to enable the population stay alive. Now, I want to take an exception to what I heard my co-panelist say. He said he does not blame the government for borrowing. No, sir. I will blame the government for being a perpetual borrower. I will blame them for being a perpetual borrower, because you cannot live on borrowing every day. If they don't borrow directly from IMF or World Bank, they borrow through debentures from the public, from the private sector. Put up an economy that is productive, that produces. You cannot be borrowing and you import everything. At the slightest mishap, you are in trouble. No, sir. I will blame them, and I will tell the people that, look, me, I will not talk the type of language that somebody wrote there and Mr. Tah was not able to read. I will tell the people, this government has failed us. Your only alternative is to vote them out of office in the next election and vote in Reform Party that will institute in this country an economy that is productive. You cannot be importing even corn. You import red oil. You import toothpicks. Can you imagine that? You import toothpick for 5 billion francs for 1 year. Terrible thing. That's you import everything.
We have Conga everywhere.
You are talking of the second phase of computers.
Yes,
please.
the second phase of the.
I am praying to God that that second phase should not be materialized.
But maybe the money has been disbursed.
I say I am praying that it should not be. Let them bring that money and we build factories with it. Had they produced factories with that money, 75 billion. Massa, what computers can't you produce with that type of money? You go buy some low-graded nonsense that even the students are unable to use. And our children, our grandchildren will have to pay that money. No, sir. The thing is that we should learn to see where the problem is. And the problem here is that we have a government that does not want to encourage local production. They believe in ready-made from outside. Sir, we have competent Cameroonians who can produce. Give them the opportunity. We have, look, acquire rice. Let us take only rice. Acquire rice is all going to Nigeria. There is no road to bring it here. There's no road. They will tell me that because of the war, anyway, they will not even talk of war because they say everything is normal. But if everything is normal, let them bring acquire rice that is being produced by local people, but it's being produced in huge amounts, big quantities. Bring it to Cameroon here so that the imports will be reduced. Encourage the local population to produce corn so that brasseries, the breweries will buy our corn and make their beer with. Now, when they cry that Ukraine war is disturbing, wheat is high, I just say that these people are not serious. We all know Kumba bread. Is Kumba bread made out of wheat? Kumba bread is made out of yam and potato flour. Why can they not ask our our bakers here to start using yam flour and potato flour?
Even wheat
cassava.
And cassava flour.
Even wheat, it has been proven that wheat is highly can be grown in the northwest because of recent. We saw a picture from Oku, which was very productive wheat.
Yes, sir, but yam and potato and cassava produce better bread than that wheat. I don't understand why the obsession for wheat. Why? When you take Kumba bread, look, everybody goes for it. But it is not wheat. It's made out of yam, cassava, or potato flour. So why can't they encourage our own local production and make sure that we don't fall into the hands of these foreigners who are out to make money?
Exploit us.
And now we have all these research institutes. I don't see the products in the field. They don't give out the product of their research to the farmers, to the local farmers, so that the yield is improved. They don't. They say Cameroon is a bread basket. But what type of bread basket is Cameroon that imports everything, even food?
Master.
How can you be a bread basket import everything?
We import even fruit.
Look at fruit juice. Who produces fruit juice? About 1 or 2 people. Everything is imported. They go to Manfe, look at the oranges that are there. Muyuka. Even they are here. We have fruits in abundance. Why don't you encourage the population to put in place extraction industries that can extract fruit juice from these fruits? You keep importing. No, I'll blame them, sir. And I say, I'll tell them again, if you are, since you are unable to run this country, please pack your things and go. We are ready to take over.
Okay. Dr. Michael Dumancho, rounding up with these topics, so that we'll move to the next phase. Let me just read this message before coming to you. We are even lucky that the cement is sold only for 7,000. Nothing is impossible for this our government to do. We should not be surprised that the price may soon rise to 10,000. We thank the head of state. Is coming from Abraham from Yaoundé. And this around it says, happy Sunday to you guys, happy Sunday to Barrister and Dr. Michael, and also to the young man in the studio. What I have to say about this is that we Cameroonians youth, we are not serious. When it comes to election, a lot of us sit and say nothing will change. And now we are seeing how the price of cement is moving up. We should just pray that soon we should not buy a bottle of Supermore for 1,000 francs CFA, else we are doomed. Please, Cameroonians youth, let us get registered for election. Even if it does not change, maybe it will put pressure. This is coming from Thomas Induala. Thank you very much, Thomas Induala. Dr. Michael Dumancho, what words do you have for the government? Because we are seeing that we are moving from 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, now 7,000 in Bamenda. In some areas, they are sold for 8,000 francs CFA, a bag of cement. And not to talk about the roofing sheet that we are talking about, not to talk about the Rod 12, Rod 8, Rod 9, that's in high demand. And these are locally produced in Cameroon. And it's not like these things are produced out of Cameroon. And so when we look at this situation, what's your advice for the government, for the civil society, for politicians like Senior Barrister, and for the consumers?
The message I have is, first, this shows that we are already at the point of inflation in Cameroon.
High point.
Yeah, that's
high
right.
point.
And the way to appease the citizens that when there's an inflation like this nature, salaries should be increased. Of course, because if salaries are not increased, people will not survive with this. How do people pay? How do people pay for these goods and services? Second thing, our advice that the government should, even against its own will, against the will of the little few oligarchs, encourage local production. Let me tell you one thing. This issue is not an issue of the whole government of Cameroon. It's an issue of few oligarchs in Cameroon. Those who want to have monopoly in the importation of things.
Yes.
Let me tell you, there's a secret about it. There are people who have sat like this and have held the Cameroon economy hostage.
Yes.
And it's high time we open our eyes. If we do not open our eyes, it will become worse than this. And the issue is because it started very slowly and we are just watching. In as much as the price of beer has not been touched, everything is okay. But it will soon be touched. We need to be very, very careful that this issue is being orchestrated by a few individuals in Cameroon. I even pity some of these sub-regional countries. They used to say that Cameroon is a basket of what? Bread basket in Central Africa. So I pity these countries now, because I've never heard any of them contradict this statement. It means that if Cameroon is at this stage, imagine what they are.
Yeah, because their national debt as of Democratic Republic of Congo, their national debt is 90%. And you move to Gabon, the national debt is 65 to 70% as of Cameroon, which is just...
So now you see, it is a pity. The advice is that the civil society should rise up. And I still talk about the issue of political parties. Of course, we who are civil society, it doesn't mean that we don't play partisan politics. We have politics in our heart. and we are in a position to encourage. We can call other people to vote for a particular party. That is our job and our responsibility. And it has shown us that there are differences in governance. Because when you look at, we are in the Second Republic, and people are so nostalgic about the First Republic. It means that the First Republic at least did something better. That at least something was better in terms of economy. Even if somebody argues that there has been an economic crisis and whatsoever, what the minimum we have is that the period of Ahidjo in Cameroon was at least manageable. And then when we came to the issue of rigor and moralization, we thought it was going to be better. And that we are into this kind of recession. It is a pity. And the lesson we should learn, especially from issues like COVID-19 and all these things, that I have said it, that COVID-19 has come and it has to push us to be able to invent, to stop dependence on the international community, to stop depending on France or Europe or America. And that we have to sit back and see that if tomorrow, yes, the COVID-19 only hit it for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and we are crying this much. Imagine another pandemic will come for 5 years.
Okay.
It will be terrible on us. And therefore, this is an opportunity for us to encourage the young people to do what we consume, to produce what we consume. First of all, and the first thing that keeps a government running is agriculture. Because once a household meal is touched, it is the whole country that is touched. You can go touch some of those other things outside. Even first of all, the issue of cement. It is not everybody that is building in Cameroon with cement. Of course, in some buildings they still build with embalmed in mud bricks and whatsoever. It's not everybody that is touched. But once a household is touched in terms of oil, in terms of maggi, in terms of some of these basic things in the house, it is the market woman, that woman that goes to the market, that comes back to cry. And the cry of that woman is usually very, 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 very aggressive. It is not the cry of us, the civil service politicians. The cry of the market woman is very aggressive, and we should listen to that. And that is why we need to encourage that that local production that will make a government. Even the government is a kind of recession, the government will not feel it much. Sometimes the government feels that when you empower these people, you think that they will rise, they rise against you. No! When you empower them, they help you. Like in periods like this, if these people are empowered, if we have a local production, the government will only be at ease. Oh my God, what do we talk about this now?
Where are those farming associations that Ahidjo created? Our economy is not productive. How can a war between Russia and Ukraine just paralyze us? What is the vision of the present regime? Edwin from Banjok. Also, this one, he says there are 3 companies in Cameroon, 3 cement companies in Cameroon: Cementcam, Dangote, and Semaf. The raw materials for the production of cement, clinker, limestone, and gypsum are all imported from Poland. Now that we have a disruption in the supply chain, the consequences is an increase in the prices of cement. Also, Elvis in Yaoundé writes, he says, greetings to the panel. My advice to your youth is that no need to be expecting anything from the government. No. Thank you. Your message is gotten. This other read, it says, greetings to you all in the studio. Happy Sunday. I am very sad discovering that the bag of cement that 4 years back was sold for 4,500 francs. Where are we going to? This is really is this really encouraging to the youth? This is catastrophic indeed. Fofong writing from Bamenda. Innocent, briefly on this, so I'll move to part 2 of the topic. What is your advice to the government and to the civil society, as well as politicians like Senior Barrister, who wants to change the landscape?
Yeah, the fact is that the politicians have not been doing things. They have not been doing things well, because it's difficult for them to come together to form a common front to ask to bring a government down. It's difficult for them. And now, when you talk of educating people should register. The government is as if they have a role that leave them poor, so that you can control them. Because even youths are registered, Cameroonians are registered. You realize that during election, when they give them 1,000, 2,000, they will still go and vote their consciences. And one thing which I want to make Cameroonians to understand is that every money that the government is using is our money. There is no money in this country that come out of the resources that we own in this country. All the resources in this country is our resources. So somebody should not give you money and you think that you want to vote the person. And I want to tell the person of who said that limestone is imported
from Poland.
Yes, but actually they don't import the limestone because clinker is what they use to produce cement. So they import the that
clinker.
Yes, that clinker. They don't import the limestone. But limestone is everywhere.
But do we have clinker in Cameroon?
No, we don't have it. But we have limestone. Limestone they use it to produce clinker, limestone and clay to produce clinker. While clinker now is used to produce cement, which we can produce the clinker in Cameroon. But because the mining sector has
not been liberalized.
Yes, has not been liberalized. That is why now we are forced now to import the clinker from Poland, Congo, and other countries. So I want to say that this government does not care about anybody. They don't care about us. Yes, because I don't understand. Everything imported. Everything is import. Everything they import. Everything. Ndu rice is there. Nobody is struggling to say anything. They allow us to be importing rice from China, India, Thailand, of which the rice are not even good. But Ndu rice is the way of which, sorry, Ndab rice. Ndab rice is that which we can use it in Cameroon. The government will not. It's because it seems as if some people have decided that this country will never grow. Because if you look at the years of Ahejo, from now, everything has been crumbling. Every country, as the days are passing, the country is crumbling. It's crumbling. It's crumbling. It's crumbling.
Others will argue that we had economic meltdown now.
Economic meltdown because of the bad policies of the government. Yes, economic meltdown because of the bad policies of the government. Why is that? Wait, for instance, now Senegal, a bag of cement in Senegal is 3,500. Senegal is a former French colony. Because when you post this somewhere, some people will tell you it's France. It's a former French colony. But that country takes care of its citizens very well.
Okay.
Why can't Cameroonians, they can come and Cameroon do that to us?
Thank you very much. Greetings to you in the studio. I can, excuse me, I can contribute in. We are not the problem. It is not us. We should blame the government. We don't lack anything here in our country. So the government is the one pulling down this country, coming from Tico. Thank you very much. This one, it says, good afternoon to you all, the panelists in the studio. I am Defonsa Galus in Douala. The issue of cement in this country is really a call for concern, Mr. Jarvis. How can you imagine that the government leave foreign investors to carry our money out of the country through their high prices of cement? And I believe these high prices is the government that started it. What I will advise that we Cameroonians should go back to our local materials in construction. If care is not taken, the youth will no longer build because of high cost of material. Thank you very much for your contribution. And also this other one read, it says, how many of our authorities can participate in a live debate before being voted to power? That is a blind leadership. And if leaders are blind, what then will happen to the citizen? Senior Barrister Ashu is always on panel, so he's also an authority. Senior Barrister Ashu, we are moving straight, briefly advice to the government and also consumers. I'll move straight to the second topic.
Thank you.
And to your peers' position.
Your last observer there made this a very pertinent point. You see, in these hard times, when you say the price of zinc has gone up, we are all living by the standards of the white man, who tells us that our roofs must be made of zinc. You can build your roof out of other materials. You can use wood to make your zinc, your roof. You can use, why not your raffia?
That's right.
Your raffia, you can use raffia. When it is well made, it lasts for a long time. You see? So I think we should resort to alternative materials in building. Now, we are crying about cement. But we have from Polytechnic here, engineers who have produced molds that are capable of giving us on the spot usable sun-dried bricks. That machine used to cost about 375,000. You just put laterite inside and press. It gives you dry bricks that you can use on the spot. So if you just buy one of those, laterite costs 30,000 francs a trip. Or it may have gone up to about 35, but not yet 40. If you have a trip of laterite and you have that machine, you have enough material to start your building. So we should not be addicted to building with blocks, with cement blocks. Let us use our local material, which are even more comfortable, because if you have a house that is built out of sun-dried bricks, it's more comfortable inside than a cement house, a cement block house. So I think people should try to use alternative material. Then for the government, well, the government is living a war of survival, because with IMF putting his hands on all the money, you see, they are bound to do everything, make sure that at least they pay the civil servants. But Dr. Ndimacho said it here, the government should empower the local population to encourage production on the spot. Let local production be encouraged. I feel very bad each time I hear that they have imported red oil from Gabon. Palm oil from Gabon. Can you imagine that? We have CDC here. Cannot produce because of social strife. When you say civil war, they say no, they say social strife. Why don't you bring this thing to an end? Please call the children to the table. Call us to the table. Let us sit and discuss this.
The minister said the war is over now.
We all know that it is blatant tomfoolery. If the war is over, where is Senator Mundi?
No, we are coming to the second.
Where is Senator Mundi?
We are coming.
The war is not over.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senior Barrister. This person writes, hey, happy Sunday, Mr. Jarvis. My advice to other politicians who want to take over from the present regime is that they should not fail us as the present regime has failed us. They should try to bring our economy up to a better level. Thanks. This is coming from Hysin Akanga from Boya. At least, Senior Barrister, this is someone who is hopeful that change will come, and he's talking to you that you people should not fail us.
Thank you. CPDM has no manifesto. You cannot hold them to anything. They have made no promises to you. Reform Party has a manifesto that gives you all the plans of action. We can stop unemployment by creating jobs from our own means. We can stop this economic crisis by putting in place an a market economy. Not this nonsense that the minister sitting here and say a bag of rice will cost 17,000 francs. Was he the buyer? Is it the problem of the buyer?
Is it the producer?
How can you make the price, fix the price of a product that you did not buy? You see, you have to encourage a market economy. Let the prices be fixed by the market, not by people in their offices. Corruption. We have the solution to end corruption. Misappropriation of public funds. Do you know a country that does not master its public finance? That is Cameroon. The money of the Cameroon state is in the gutters. It's inside private pockets. We don't have a central bank. BAYAC is not a central bank.
How can I say private pocket? Senior Barrister, we have BAYAC.
You didn't see the ministers who removed their mattresses and replaced them with money. Or you didn't hear that somebody's child was lost how many billions in the house? No, please leave that thing. You know what I'm talking about. When they were talking about Ondondo's who embezzled 300 billion. Wait now. One person embezzling 300 billion and he has been convicted. So you cannot even deny that.
No, that one is...
Wait, 300 billion now.
You cannot deny.
Thank you.
Cameroon's money is in private pockets.
And the Reform Party will change it.
Our priority number one is to have a central bank that will keep all the government's money.
Greetings to you the guys in the studio. I used to say politicians, a political illiterate is the worst illiterate, because if you don't partake in politics, you are taking the country backward. So please let us register and vote. This is coming from Nemo Bisong from Cameroon.
Nemo Bisong.
This one right. It says, please, Jarvis asks Barrister if one can use mud to produce zinc in urban towns like Limbe, when the government tells us what you build in town, what you use to build in town.
You can use wood to make your roof in Limbe.
Hello, I've been trying to connect. Thank you very much. This all right. It says good afternoon to you all in the studio. I think I go with also what Dr. Michael Dimancho said. We should empower our local producers. This oral written, my message wasn't read till the end. And journalists, I am live on the channel. So please, so many debates on all channels have changed nothing for over 30 years now. Youth are not empowered in any domain. My advice, I repeat, is that every youth should do an effort to thank you very much. Again, I will not read it to the end because you have to be.
I just wanted to make one point. In addition to the local production we're talking about, especially to replace cement. Yeah, Barrister talk about Polytechnic. I think we have a company in Cameroon called Mipomalo. You know what Mipomalo?
Yes.
That is producing local blocks. That you use it first. I mean, they are stronger and stiffer than this. They call this cement made blocks. And the former director of Mipomalo is now the director of University of Ngandore, Ufe Chinji. I mean, she was doing a great job. I don't know who is there now. But I think that these are things that the government should encourage and make it actually a national kind of thing and create antennas in all of these regions in Cameroon. This is a source of youth employment. Bring the youth there, teach them how to do this thing, so that in cases like this, we can be able to switch. And I'm telling you, when we switch, this company, cement company, will come begging for the market. Okay, this is what happens.
We'll move straight to the second topic of today, where we are moving to very crucial one. Where is the fund of BAMBALANG, who is the president of the Northwest House of Chiefs, or House of Funds, to put it that way, and also the Ndian 5. Where is the Ndian 5? Where are the Ndian 5? And also Senator Regina Mundi. Where is Senator Regina Mundi? These are, we are having a difficult situation in Cameroon. Why others have the opinion that the war is over. We have just few pockets of resistance. Top profile government officials are being kidnapped, and we still have videos emanating from social media with people promising doom within the northwest and southwest region of Cameroon. How stable is the region, and how physical is the war over in the northwest and southwest region? Some call it war, others conflict, some say instability. Where regardless of how you see it, what is happening, that we have not been able to have the fund of BAMBALANG, who is the president of the Northwest House of Chiefs. I begin with you, senior barrister. You are a politician, and you have been very vocal since this conflict started, ensuring that we should look at the root causes of this conflict and resolve it for a one and indivisible Cameroon that will give its specificity and respect the bi-jury and the bicultural nature of the nation. We've had the fund of BAMBALANG missing for months now, and nothing has been said about that again.
Thank you. The question is very pertinent, because we have in the Yaoundé some people who want to behave like ostriches. Like the ostrich. They bury their head in the sand and think that their problems are over. That can bring no solution. It does not pay anybody to lie that the war is over. Just this morning, I was reading on an article on WhatsApp that the Amber Boys are clearing off the military checkpoints on Kumbamanfe Road. They are clearing off the military checkpoints. It's very disturbing. I mean, you have a national army, they tell you that people who are not even trained are clearing off military checkpoints. Now, the Ndian 5. Since the last time that they carried General Nambere to lead an expedition to go try to find out where the Ndian 5 were kept, and he failed. I hear Nambere is in Nigeria.
He has escaped himself.
He has vamoosed to Nigeria. We only get other incidences that are coming out of Ndian. But I read on Cameroon Concord News blog online that they were executed and their bodies were dumped, and nobody's talking about it.
But the government has not officially made it.
I read on Cameroon Concord News blog. It's online. You can go look at it. It's there that the Ndian 5 were executed and their bodies were dumped and given unofficial burial. So, I mean, this is very discouraging, because people who work for the government start feeling themselves insecure.
But is it not the place for the government to give accountability for these people?
Why did they allow the thing to get rotten now? Why? Call the children, let us sit on the table and put an end to this thing. We all know the story. Nobody can be fooled today. We all know the story. We know where it went wrong. We know the cheating they tried to do. That has been discovered. Southern Cameroon never signed off its sovereignty to anybody. Come back, put us to the table, let us arrange how our country is supposed to work. Sitting in Yaoundé and pretending that nothing is happening is not a solution. It will instead allow the situation to get more rotten, and if we are not careful, it will go off hand. I see some people, when I strike the note of warning, some people laugh. They say, "Ha! Where are the people getting the weapons?" Well, you don't need to know where they are getting their weapons. Let us look at what they are doing on the field. Where is the phone of BAMBALANG?
Yes, for months
Where
now.
is the phone? This is a man who was said to have been kidnapped by No Pity. No Pity, the one man. How many billions have been put to capture No Pity? Now the military is silent on that issue. They're no longer talking. The Minister of Defense left here and went to Bamenda. Summoned soldiers, they made a big parade there. Oh, they are coming up with a new strategy. Mr. Minister of Defense, where is General No Pity? Where are the efforts that you put in place to capture this man? Up to today, we are not hearing anything about it. Where is he? How do they account for all this type of situation where, I mean, the thing is getting rotten every day? They tell the people something else and we see something else. We should all be honest to ourselves. It is not a war that can be won on the battlefield. No government has ever won a war against its own people. It's not possible. Please, let us stop the killing. Let us stop the waste. We are crying today that there is price hike. You know very well that the Northwest and Southwest, or Southern Cameroons, is responsible for 40% of the agricultural production in this country. You know that? How can you come out of this type of situation when your 40% producer is incapacitated? How is that possible? So it is a very difficult situation. The government has to be true to itself. I got another information from, I saw the video of success in Congo. I'm sorry to put all this on top because it's very important. This gentleman made revelations, and he said the government does not want this conflict to be over. We remember that he was sent to Nigeria to go and bring fighters. He says fighters have left Southern Cameroon and gone to Nigeria, and they are waiting for the government to fulfill its own part of the bargain so as to come back here and surrender their weapons. It is there in social media. Is he telling the truth or is he lying? This is a man who was working in close collaboration. He was citing names. He gave the names of Eli Smith. Well, let me leave their names. I am not the one calling them. This man has cited their names. Cited the names of people with whom he was working in Yaoundé. And I think I'm tempted to believe him. Because this is a gentleman who tore his passport at one time and burnt it. Tore his passport and burnt it on video. So if he comes now to be telling this type of stories, I will ask the government, are you serious about ending this crisis? If you are not serious about ending it, as Mr. Success in Congo is saying, then it is a shameful situation, because you, the government, have the duty to ensure the safety of the population and property. Now that we see that life and property are at stake in Cameroon, if we have somebody coming up to say government does not want to end it, this is a bad situation. We want the government to come up now and tell us that they want this thing to end, and put things on the table to make sure that this conflict comes to an end. Because if that conflict does not come to an end, you heard what Capo Daniel was saying. They are asking for prisoner exchange. They are keeping Dr. Mundi, and they are keeping the phone of is Okura.
Yeah, phone of BAMBALANG.
Or BAMBALANG. They say they should be exchanged for prisoners who are in Kondengi. I mean, you can imagine this type of situation. It's very embarrassing. So let them come up with answers that the people want to hear. We want answers to these disturbing revelations that are being made. I get very, very angry when I see my colleague Kemende was assassinated. They have not said anything about it. You are asking questions. You forgot about it.
I wanted to ask
nothing has been said about the assassination of Senator Kemende. Nothing. And they will still sit in their office and say nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. How? Why are these people dying? Why are people being kidnapped? They say it's thieves. If those thieves are so powerful as to kidnap senators, they are no longer thieves. Thieves kidnap for ransom. How much are these people asking as ransom? Nothing. They are not thieves. They are not thieves because they are not asking for any ransom. Their objective is not money.
Okay. I asked this message coming from Derek Mbamenda. Emerick Mbamenda says, I asked myself if all these debates are viewed by the regime. If yes, why are they silent? Nothing changed at all in Cameroon, cradle of our father. And this already says, hi Jarvis, this is coming from NS in Dubai. NS, good afternoon to you. This one reads, Mr. Jarvis, the reason behind this negligence of these people being kidnapped is because most of them are Anglophones. The kidnappers are instead killing their own brothers. That is why it does not touch the government. This read, it says, happy Sunday to you, nice program, and keep it up. Dr. Michael Dimancho. The state of Cameroon, the former Minister of Communication, Issa Chiruma, said the government would assume its responsibility. And then a lot of things happened. Emmanuel Rene Sadi came up and made all the pronouncement that the government is going to ensure that peace returns to the Northwest Southwest region. Minister Paul Latanganyi had been firm that calling on the boys in the bushes to drop their arms and to embrace the DDR Center. And of recent, he made the appeal at the DDR Center. And that government has put in measures to ensure that peace return in the troubled Northwest and Southwest region. Currently, we have Senator Mundi, who was kidnapped, a top high-ranking appointed senator, a member of Cameroon's People Democratic Movement.
Politburo.
And Politburo member also. And we also have Senator Kemende was killed in the Northwest region. A senator. If we look at the rank of a senator with that of the United States, a senator is a very powerful lawmaker. And we also have Fon of BAMBALANG, who is the president of the Northwest House of Chiefs or House of Fon, and also a member of the Regional Assembly. We are talking about the Ndian 5 delegates, divisional delegates. We're not just talking about people who are not of the government. Even if they are not of the government, their lives do matter. But we are talking about people of responsibility. And yet, we still have silence. And not much is talked about as far as update is concerned, official information. Has the government abandoned these people?
Tah Mai Jarvis, I will not say that's a rhetorical question. When the Vice Prime Minister Amadou Ali was attacked in his home in Kolofata some 8 years ago, there was a government spokesman in the name of Issa Chiroma Bakari, who was the then Minister of Communication, who came out public and said this attack was not by Boko Haram. And I noted, and I wrote a very, very powerful article on that. You see, Article 5 of the Cameroon Constitution gives us the responsibility of the head of state. And it states that the head of state is the guarantor of peace and territorial security of our nation. If you should ask, where are the Fon of BAMBALANG, the Ndian 5, and now the Senator Mundi Regina, the first person who takes responsibility for these is the head of state. It means that in one way or the other, he has failed in his duty. Let me bring you closer to how complicated that the issue seems to look like. The Fon of BAMBALANG was whisked off or was kidnapped in his fondo. In fact, in his room. This, we are talking about the president of the Northwest House of Chiefs here.
Not anybody.
Not just anybody. He was kidnapped in his room. The Ndian 5 were kidnapped when they were coming from
a survey.
A mission.
Official mission.
Official mission. Thanks, Barrister. This should be very, very clear. Senator Mundi Regina was kidnapped in the heart of Bamenda.
Fontra
Street in the Northwest region. And when she was given that note to read, and like a primary school child, and all of us saw it among the video, I mean, when she was reading, that house was not an isolated house in a village. The house where she is was given that thing to read was
according to the video
was housed in a town setting. Let me tell you, I'm revealing things to you. Let people be very careful. Then we keep on talking about things as if it's they are illusions. These are factual things. Senator Kemende, where was he shot? In town.
Yes, the same Bamenda.
The same Bamenda, out of town.
Out of town, not in the outskirts.
Not in the outskirts. And you are telling me that some imaginary people came like some angels or like Lucifer and just came and shot him and ran away, and nobody could identify or even have a trace of what that was? It's a lie. I want to ask a question. Is this war in the Northwest and Southwest region, has it gone off hand? And is there something somebody is not telling us? Because you realize that the more the government says that everything is under control, the more things worsen, and the more we have high personalities that fall.
We're talking about senators.
Senators, of course. And we know what they represent in this country. The more we hear of them going, dying. Secondly, how would we, the citizens, feel when you tell me that the government is in control, and as I turn my head, I see that the very person who is supposed to be the government and who is supposed to have the high security of the government around him being killed like a rat, and then you tell me, a common citizen who has no knife on me, that there is security and that security has returned. What do you want me to make of it? Let me go on the other side of the coin. You know, at one moment we started saying, oh, these secessionists and whatsoever, they have stopped schools and up and down. Let me tell you that there is also what we call the joker card. We are in a war situation. So you wanted to give many names to what people are giving. We are in a war situation, and it is a war of legitimacy.
People say this war is what I'm saying.
It is a war. It is a war. It's not a conflict. It is not a conflict. It is a war. A war that somebody is fighting to get off a territory out of another, either rightly or unright or unjustly. It is a war. And therefore, and that is why they are using all possible means and arsenal to make sure that their intentions strive. The moment you think that they are forgotten, you know, they always have what we call that thing that raises a storm in the teacup, to let the world know that they are still in control. And that is why you find that schools were being touched. Let me tell you, from my reading, I didn't think that these guys hate school, but their problem is that they feel the school is one of those fragile places whereby when they touch, nobody stays indifferent, and that is why they held the schools hostage. Secondly, they have an interest to go for high-profile personalities, because according to them, when they touch a high personality, for them, it is a win, and therefore the international community and even the government of Cameroon will feel that they are measuring up with them. And that is why they go for those personalities. But I have often said that this is a war, this is a military war. It should be a military war and not a civilian war. Whatever the intention are in touching civilians or whatsoever, but in my opinion, she see that it should be military war. They know where gendarmerie offices are found. They know where the military barracks are found. They know where the police posts and gendarmerie posts are found. I think they should go for them.
And not civilians.
And not civilians.
But why should they even go for them? Because they say the government says that Cameroon is one and indivisible.
Well, that is the government saying. But what are they saying? They are saying, as Barrister has just insinuated here, that the southern Cameroon was never ceded to anybody. And that they are fighting to get back their country. And if they are fighting to get back their country, let them leave the civilians alone. Because like on Independence Day, the kind of marching that we admire most, and that is usually valued, is a military parade. Because it's a day of independence. And therefore, let the military fight. Let the southern Cameroon and the military, let them fight and leave the civilians alone. So that when the day of independence comes, they are going to march and say that they have succeeded and they have won the war.
Not the civilians.
Not the civilians.
Get the civilians, regardless of where they work.
Regardless of where they work, anybody who is working anywhere in the north and southwest region is only fighting for his own bread. Let them consider that.
Why do you want to kidnap someone of that age?
They talk of enablers.
They're calling them enablers.
Briefly, Innocent, let me take on this message. It says, greetings, good afternoon, Mr. Jarvis and the panelists. It's Abdul from Yaoundé. Yes, we regret, with regards to the kidnapping of the senator, the fund of Bambalang and Bambalang. It is their children, and they supported them when the crisis started. They supported them when the crisis started, and for the Ndian 5, it is their greediness that led them to be kidnapped by the boys. When you talk about greediness, I don't know what you refer to. So basically, they were working based on government. This other read says
to go to work.
Negligence is the cause of all this death, and this other read says the government is the cause of the problem. How do you expect someone who consciously created a monster to get rid of it? Those officials are not being killed. Those officials who are being killed are paying the price. The funny part of it is that most of them are Anglophone, and as you know, their lives means nothing to the government. This comes from Abraham. This other, it says, good afternoon to you in the studio. I think the government should resolve this conflict. What is your take on the second topic?
Yes, I want to say that guy who is talking about greediness, about those who started, those who are supporting them. The law of Cameroon says that a minor, when you are above 21 years of age, you are no more a minor. So it will be difficult for a father to control somebody who is above 21 years. Yes, because even if you want to control him and the person takes you to the police or to the court, the person has the right. Somebody who is above 21 years, 25 years. And these people were just going around looking for their daily bread. And I used to ask that these people that said, who are they fighting for? Yes, who are they fighting for? They are fighting for southern Cameroonians. So that is their initial aim. They are fighting for southern Cameroonians, and they are still killing the same southern Cameroonians. Does that make it doesn't make sense? They are still killing them. Yes, everybody needs to struggle for his life. And as for the fun, when I was small, and even now, I knew that the fund of the Northwest, the West, and those of the BLM division, the Southwest, they are well respected. It's only this one around the coast that you can the BF anyhow. But
no, but you cannot say the BF anyhow. No. Yes. You cannot say the BF anyhow.
Why don't you say that not that the BF anyhow?
Because I've been to Mundi, and Chief Molinga of Blessed Memory was a well-respected fund where I grew up. No. You cannot say the BF anyhow.
Yes, I will tell us that.
Yes.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say is that the funds, they are not well respected because of the white man culture. They are not well respected. They still hold that white man culture very tight. But now, if somebody, a civilian, a normal, an ordinary person, will touch the phone, that is a taboo. But why do they even have that guts to touch the phone? It's because of the phones they themselves have degraded themselves. They have turned away from what ancestors taught them, and they have go for money. Because normally as a fund is the president of a village. A fund is the president in your village. Even in Cameroon, they call him as auxiliary of the administration, but meaning that the president did not appoint the fund. As you were saying, it's only in Munyada I saw that villages around the deal with income and they will be judging around the deal who will be the fund. In the BLM division and the Northwest, you don't do that. They do that it's a hereditary. Misery of my fund, I died, my child took over. So it is the ancestors that put a fund. Now, if the ancestors that put a fund, the fund have derailed, they have joined politics, they are doing things that are not good. That is why now they have degraded themselves.
But is that a reason why? Is that even a reason why you go and kidnap a fund? Is that even a reason? Because the fund is not acting in conformity with what you say? Is that a reason?
No, what I'm trying to say is that the enemy, the friend to your enemy is your enemy.
No, the question here is, where are these people?
We don't know where they are because I was born in Ndian 5. One of them is my brother. He happens to be my brother. Yes, among the Ndian 5, they have one of them happens to my brother. So we don't know where they are. It's the government that knows where they are. What am I with the Isa Chiruma Bakari was that at least he always talk. Even if he will say what is wrong, he will always talk. But the Minister of Communication, they will kidnap 6. They were even 6, not 5, because one was killed.
No, we are talking about the 5 now.
Yes.
There are 5.
Now they will kidnap 6 divisional delegates in a whole division. The Minister of Communication won't say anything. They will stay silent up till now. We don't even know where they are. So you cannot ask me because I will not tell you.
Senior barrister, you are a senior citizen and you are someone who also is a legal mind and a president of a party and a presidential aspirant and someone who moved across Cameroon. You have gone to Cameroon front and back. What do you make of this reading? Who has the responsibility to give us answers? Because is it, first of all, from the legal perspective, is it first of all legal to be quiet till this moment where the public is not being updated as to the situation? In America, we constantly watch updates. And this is what's happening, this is what is happening, this is what's happening. But should we beg for update to get where these people are?
Well, we at one time had what they used to call a government spokesperson. I think Mr. Isa Chiroma exercised that function for some time. After him, he was replaced by, I think, Regina. So the question is very pertinent because we direct it to Mr. Sadi. Why is he not updating the population, the Cameroonian people, on what is happening? Because we want answers. It is not normal for somebody who is serving the state to be kidnapped and killed and nothing is said about it. It's not normal. It's not normal at all. The government has the duty to tell the people what is happening. The duty to give explanation. You see,
I'm online.
That duty is, you see them exercising that duty whenever there is a scandal. When the Ngabu massacre came up, you saw how they came up promptly. The army got up with their own spokesperson, the SDO, CPDM, every person got up to talk. Until the president said, okay, I want a commission of inquiry, and the thing came out. The president said, all right, final full stop, this is what happened. The president exercised that duty there by telling the people after the commission of inquiry, okay, this is what happened. We expect this type of thing to come up from the government. Let them tell us what has become of the Ndian 6, not 5, the Ndian 6. Because even the one that was killed, it is not the government that announced. It is not the government. Journalists who announced that he was killed and the corpse was carried and given unofficial burial. So let them come out and tell us what happened. Let them tell us what happened to Senator
Kemendi, because an investigation was up till now. No information.
I don't even know whether they opened and they created a commission of inquiry. I don't know. I don't remember having seen any commission created.
In the Senate House is not representing the party, but it's representing Cameroon.
The way the Senate handled that man's death is appalling. Because for a senator to be assassinated and the Senate did not give him an official burial is something that really baffles me today. Were they happy that their colleague was killed? I ask myself the question. I mean, how can senators? I don't even remember that issue was even raised in the Senate. I don't remember. So you see, the government has that duty to inform the population. And if they don't inform, please, 2025 is coming. The population has a right. That's the only time that you have the right to sanction the government. Sanction the party in power. I will call on Cameroonians, please, like the young gentleman here said, please go and register to vote. Register massively in the electoral register so that your voice can count, your voice can be heard. Don't say that CPDM will steal everything, because these days, it is no longer possible for them to steal as they used to steal. So please register massively to prepare, in preparation for the upcoming elections, because that is the opportunity that you have to sanction the people who are in power. You have been crying that they have been siphoning away all public funds. They have instituted corruption as a way of governance. They have done all sorts of ills, stolen COVID money and stolen all sorts of monies. Please, the opportunity you have to sanction them is on the ballot box. I will not buy the market that is being sold by some people say that people should take to the streets. Please, we are in a state of law. No taking to the streets. Get yourself registered in the electoral register and vote them out of office. That is democracy. We don't encourage anarchy. We don't encourage non-respect of the law. Please, let's respect the law. Without the law, there will be anarchy, and in anarchy, nobody can stand up and defend his own rights. So I think that, Mr. Tah Mai Jarvis, we want to get the government to render accounts to the people. Let them tell us what is happening. What are they doing? What are they doing to set, to enable Senator Mundi and the fund of BAMBALANG recover their liberty? What are they doing? They should not sit there and feel that we are going to imagine that they are doing something. Let them tell us what they are doing. And we want to see them. Mr. Minister of Defense, I come back to it. Tell us what you are doing about General Nupiti, because you came out and said that you are going to do something, and he has to be, the secretary has to be arrested. We want to know what you are doing, sir, and why we still have to be suffering the arrest of prominent people, members of society.
Thank you very much, barrister, senior barrister. Dr. Michael Dimancho, we are seemingly coming to an end of this program. Before we take leave of our viewers, I want to get your own position on these. What's the way forward? Should Cameroonians beg for information, for funds, for those kidnapped? Is it not just a normal obligation that taxpayers are supposed to be updated as to the situation of their country, especially when it comes to this situation of the Ndian 5?
I think one of the most important things that the government of Cameroon should do is that they should prevent further kidnaps. Sometimes people like Kemende, Senator Kemende, and the others who have died in this crisis, we can't cry over spilled milk. But what we can do is that we can prevent further disaster, further kidnappings, further killings of this nature. And what is the way to prevent that? And I think that when the government acts rightly, it acts for its favor. Maybe that is what the government doesn't know. For example, you see now we are talking about the issue of food crisis. And we are on this platform, we actually shared that much of the food that we consume here east of Omungu comes over there from the northwest and southwest. What stops the government from actually calling for a real dialogue that we are talking about Tah Mai Jarvis? It has become a cliche.
A genuine dialogue.
A genuine one.
We had the national dialogue minister said it was genuine.
It wasn't genuine.
Let us call it. Let us call the real name. A genuine dialogue. That was a grand national dialogue.
I was outside. They refused me.
Yeah, we were in Yaoundé together. Yes,
that was the dialogue for the government ministers and whoever in Yaoundé. Can you imagine a person who has a political party? They refuse him.
Yeah, I met senior barrister.
And he had proposals. And he had proposals to give. How many of the secessionists did they invite?
Padia Sanga.
Padia Sanga is more of the government in Yaoundé than a secessionist. So I think that we need to recognize Padia Sanga is my own personal person, and he knows that he's watching our program. But very often I say that we needed people who are actually fueling this crisis. We know them in Europe.
in America, let us invite them.
Government said they are not Cameroonians.
Well, if they are not Cameroonians, why are they fueling the crisis in Cameroon? Are you getting them from the official sources, or you are talking from the
I'm talking about official sources.
Well, they are not Cameroonians. If they are not Cameroonians, there are people who are fueling this crisis who are Cameroonians, and they need a genuine dialogue.
Okay. We are out of time. Thank you very much, Dr. Michael Dimanche, for coming.
It's a pleasure, Mr. Tah Mai Jarvis.
And of course, thank you very much, Innocent Baruzi, for coming.
No, thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure to have you, and take our greetings to the people of Bonaberi.
No, I will carry the. I will be happy to be here next time again.
Senior Barrister, there is an important article, section 68, that talked about the federation, and also talk about the key issue of
68 of the
68 of the Constitution,
1996
Constitution.
Yes.
I don't know whenever you have time, I want a one-on-one on that, so that the public can be educated on that. 68 very well.
Yeah, that's the interim provision.
Yes, the interim provision is
Yes.
very important, so that the public are informed about that provision, because a lot of people don't know. You drew that to my attention. I think when we had a program at that, I did not even know about that specifically. You brought that to my attention, and with your permission, whenever you have time, it will be good to have a one-on-one with that from the legal political perspective.
The appointment is mine.
Thank you for coming, Senior Barrister. And of course, what message you have for the people as far as the President of the Reform Party is concerned?
Thank you. I want to give a special shout out to my people in the East for the good job that was done yesterday. They swept off the entire crew of the UPC party in the East. Kudos. Any person who wants to join Reform Party, please, or you want to represent the Reform Party, get in touch. You can call Mr. Tah Mai Jarvis on my number. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senior Barrister. Thank you, Desmond Akeba. Thank you to all those at the broadcast center. Thank you to our camera personalities. We have come to an end. If you want to be a member of this program, you want to be a panelist, contact me on the number on your screen. I'll put you in our official WhatsApp group, and I'll get in touch with you. Max from Germany, thank you very much for your message. Because of time constraint, we could not read it. You extend your greetings to Senior Barrister. He has heard you. And what matters is your matter. Good day and bye-bye.